Hey everybody, it's Anna and welcome back to my booktube channel. So in kind of a weird turn of events, coronavirus happened, which means that a lot of book release dates are getting changed and shuffled around, and that means you may have noticed I did not post a May anticipated releases yet. I know May is almost over, but there are still some books that I was anticipating coming out that I wanted to talk to you about, and I also figured why not just mention the ones that have already come out or the ones whose release dates have been shifted around, because it's better to do that late than never. So let's go ahead and get into some of my May anticipated releases, some of which are already out, some of which are still coming out, and some of which have just been postponed, sometimes indefinitely. So I will give you release dates and then as updated information as I possibly can, but keep in mind that this situation is very much in flux and could change at any minute. So let's go ahead. So on May 5th, I think this got actually pushed back to later in May, but that was when Clap Would You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo came out. This is a novel in verse about two sisters who share the same father, but they don't know of each other's existence until their father dies. And as they are grieving for him, they suddenly learn that he's sort of got these two families, and they start to learn about these secrets that he kept. I mean, I love Elizabeth Acevedo's work, so I'll just read anything that she's written, but this sounded really interesting, and I have that on hold at the library now. Next up, we have The Henna Wars by Adiva Jagardar, and this was slated to come out on May 12th. Again, I think that it might have ended up coming out a little bit later in May, but this is about two South Asian girls that are sort of falling in love with each other, but they are also rivals, and they decide that they are going to set up rival businesses for a school project doing henna artwork on people. But I know that this is going to be queer and delightful, and I can't wait to read it. I know it's been very highly anticipated. Let's see. Okay, we also had on May 12th coming out Felix Ever After by Case and Calendar. If you're on BookTube or Book Twitter, especially if you follow anybody who's queer on those platforms, you've probably heard about this book, but this is about a young trans boy that is just going through life and the kinds of things that he does, and I believe that this is by a non-binary author. I didn't realize at the time that I started reading their books that Case and Calendar was non-binary, but I figured that that was worth mentioning because now that I know it, I want to just be like, hey, just in case you wanted to know. Let's see. Okay, so on the 19th of May, we have The Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, which is the next book in the sort of Hunger Games mythos world, something like that. I have kind of mixed feelings about saying that this is one of my anticipated releases because, like a lot of people, when I found out that this book is told from the perspective of a young President Snow, I was like, really? Is this the book that we need right now? Why is this the book that Suzanne Collins chose to write right now? But I'll admit, I'm curious. The Hunger Games were a really important foundational work for me growing up. I remember reading them, I think it was the summer right before I started college. I just sort of blew through them super quickly. So I am cautiously anticipating this book, but I'm still going to read it because I know everybody's going to be talking about it, and I'm curious enough that I will bite. All right, next up, we have Boys of Alabama by Genevieve Hudson. In this bewitching debut novel, a sensitive teen newly arrived in Alabama falls in love, questions his faith, and navigates a strange power. While his German parents don't know what to make of a South pining for the past, shy Max thrives in the thick heat. Taken in by the football team, he learns how to catch a spiraling ball, how to point a gun, and how to hide his innermost secrets. Max already expects some of the raucous behavior of his new American friends, like their insatiable hunger for the fried and cheesy and their locker room talk about girls. But he doesn't expect the camaraderie or how quickly he would be welcomed into their world of basement beer drinking. In his new canvas pants and thickening muscles, Max feels like he's playing dress-up. That is, until he meets Pan, the school witch, in physics class. Pan in his all-black, Pan with his goth choker and the gel that made his hair go straight up. Suddenly, Max feels seen, and the pair embarks on a consuming relationship. Max tells Pan about his supernatural powers, and Pan tells Max about the snake poison initiations of the local church. The boys, however, aren't sure whose past is darker and what is more frightening, their true selves or staying true in Alabama. That sounds really good. It sounds really interesting and creepy and weird, and I am excited to read it. All right, coming up on May 26th, we have Stay Gold by Toby Mcsmith, which as far as I know is a queer retelling of the sort of YA modern classic The Outsiders, and the title is the allusion to Stay Gold and Pony Boys, so I'm ready for that. That's going to be great. We also have coming out on the 26th Camp by Elsie Rosen. This is another novel that is about a queer summer camp, going to summer camp and finding out who you really are. And then on the 26th, we also have out now Queer We Go Again, edited by Chandra Mitchell. This is going to be the sequel or like spiritual successor, I guess, to the Out anthology, which was an anthology of queer historical fiction, which I love. So obviously I need to read that too. Okay, we do have 2 books whose release dates got shifted. The first of those is The Total Eclipse of Nestor Lopez by Adriana Cuevas. This was supposed to come out on May 12th. It's now being released on July 21st. So this is a middle grade debut that is about a Cuban boy that has to use his secret ability to communicate with animals in order to save his town. Because they are threatened by a witch that can also turn into animals. I love this type of story. I love animal stories. I love middle grades, and it's going to be super awesome, I think. And then we also have The Gilded Ones by Nemina Forney. This is an Afrocentric fantasy novel that was supposed to come out on May 26th, but I think has since been pushed to February 2021. This is definitely one of those books where the cover was super stunning and immediately made me want to know more about it. So on the one hand, I'm sad that it's getting pushed back, but on the other hand, hopefully this will help you, find it and drum up some excitement and anticipation. So that is it for all of my highly anticipated May releases. I know that May is almost over, but let me know down below if you are anticipating any books coming out for the latter half of this month, or what your favorite book that has come out recently is. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of what I do, go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That way you're sure to get updates every time I post a new video. As always, thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!